very proud to say that we've actually reached about 250,000 over corporate executives over the many, many years. And one thing interesting about MCO was that apart from reaching out to 12 countries, we are able to reach out to a lot more countries now. Okay, so that's a little bit about me. Now I stop share and I pass it back to my dear Nadzrin.
Thank you very much for that. So because you prepared slides, I also must prepare slides juga. So while you were talking, I just ran to PowerPoint and thought I need to do something because tachi lah. It's not nice to have you do something. So I have put together something very quickly, and I wanted to share with you my story. And very quickly,
for everyone's information as well, I don't really know Nadzrin except for our WhatsApp chat.
No, we don't know each other at all. In fact, before you guys came in, we spent about 20 minutes getting to know each other. That's how hastily put together this was. We were becoming friends on the fly. Yes. But because we shared something in common, which was both of us have thick skin, I think. I have a bit thinner skin, but I'll share with you a little bit how I do it differently. So my name is Nadzrin, and I don't know how to introduce myself right now. Born in KL, 1977. I'm 44 years old this year, and I'm a learning and performance specialist. So what I do is I help people learn in order to perform. So if you might have heard of learning and development. Well, in learning and performance, what we do is we help you to gain competencies so that you get measurable performance. And most of what I do is with professionals, their communication skills, their leadership skills, their thinking skills, their performance skills. All of that is within my purview because it's what I love to do. And I graduated from the International Islamic University 2001. Yes, 20 years ago, which is a scary number, in communication. So with that degree in communication, I became a journalist. My first love is writing. I didn't love talking until much later. So my first love was writing, and I still write to this day. I slowly rose for 7 years as a magazine editor. Don't ask me because you will not recognize the name of the magazine. Very niche. It's a martial arts magazine. So I helmed the martial arts magazine, an entertainment magazine, a sports magazine. Eventually, we closed up the entertainment and sports magazine, and we were left only with the martial arts magazine. So for 7 years, I got to meet a lot of different people. I got to meet the Prime Minister. I got to meet the Tukang Sapu Sampah. It was fun. And those 7 years taught me how to communicate with different people at different levels and understand that everybody is just a human being. So there's one thing that I remember my editor saying that, Nadzrin, everybody has a story to tell. Even the guy who says, my life is boring, I have nothing to share with you. Even this guy, if you sit down and you talk to him, you talk to her, you will discover that they have a story to tell. So the words of wisdom, my editor said to me, Nadzrin, everyone has a story to tell. Be the kind of person that they want to tell that story to. If you are that kind of person, then you create that safety, that comfort. People feel comfortable enough with you to open up, to share. And when they open up, that's when you can teach them, that's when you can coach them, that's when you can make an impact in their lives. Otherwise, they close up and there's nothing you can do to help them. So that's where I got my grounding in people relations as a journalist. I had to quickly develop the ability to persuade people to tell me things that they don't want to tell me. I had to find ways to get people so comfortable that they would share with me stories that their students. So a lot of the people I interviewed were martial arts teachers, silat teachers, kung fu teachers, kalaripayat teachers, karate teachers, taekwondo teachers. And the students, after a particular interview, their own students would say, hey, how come my teacher never told us this story, but he's telling you this story? And I go, I don't know. So that's when I started realizing, hey, communication is a very interesting field. And it takes a certain kind of effort to be able to make people feel comfortable with you. So I started thinking about that. I started working with that. And that helped me through the rest of my career. I had a short stint as a wellness instructor. I know it doesn't look like it anymore. Please don't look at the current Nadzrin. But yes, I used to teach aerobics. I used to teach exercise.
Aerobics, oh my goodness.
To executives. So biggest client we had was Petronas, to executives at the time. And that's when I learned, say we talk about Shyless again, that's when I learned to step out, to start standing out in front of people who are far more experienced than me, far more wiser than me, and teach them. So imagine a young 26-year-old teaching 40 and 50-year-old Petronas executives how to take care of their health, how to exercise in the office and stuff like that. So it was the opportunity that my employer at the time gave me. He says, Nadzrin, you take this topic. I'm like, what? You teach this topic? You're crazy. He says, go and do. Prior to that, all I did was just training coordination. I was like the one who carried all the stuff, the projector and stuff, but he got me started in that. And I love him to this day. And that's what got me in love with learning and development, helping people learn. Then I moved on to a company where I did knowledge management. And again, Petronas was our biggest client. I wrote SOP manuals, I wrote process maps. So what I learned in journalism was the emotional communication, whereas what I learned in knowledge management was more logical communication. And that fit nicely together with what I wanted to do, which was connect with people to teach them. Then about 2 years after that, I got my biggest break. I was headhunted to join a consulting company called Accenture. And if you don't know what Accenture is, that's okay, because it's not a company that you balik kampung, balik raya, and you tell your grandmother, kerja mana sekarang ni? And you say, Accenture, mak. And you're like, apa tu? So it's not like TNB or Shell or things like that, right? Only people in industry would know what Accenture is. It's a consulting company. It does work for other companies. And I was stationed in the learning center, the Kuala Lumpur Learning Center, where we regularly train our own staff, 500,000 staff. And every year we train like, I don't know, 6,000, 7,000 people coming through our doors. Internationally, they would come through. And that's where I got my best training. So talking to people, interacting with people from different cultures, learning to adapt to them, and you know, learning from them. And for work-life reasons, I left Accenture after 7 years because there came a point where I was working way too much. I wasn't seeing my family. Money was fantastic, but you know, family needed to come first. So that's when I left and I set up my own company. And now I do more learning and performance work outside for clients. So everything I did within Accenture, I do now outside with companies and training providers. And this was interesting for me because inside Accenture, I was a big fish in a small pond. Okay, some of you will know this. If you are working in a company, you are famous inside the company. Once you leave the company, you're nobody. So I had to learn very quickly to start selling myself because I had to feed my family. That's number one. You want to think about this, right? If I don't put myself out there and show my face, my family is not going to eat. So I had to learn very quickly in 2015 to be able to market myself, to sell myself, to tell people this is what I can do for you. And the results have been amazing. I never expected to happen. I was asked to join a company in Cambodia where I am now a co-owner of this company. We do training and development in Cambodia for companies, but we do more consulting work in terms of behavior change. So big programs compared to what I do in Malaysia, like mostly just classes, courses, and development programs. And some people say, well, how come I've never heard of Nadzrin before this? Well, there's a reason for that. Last year in 2020, the pandemic happened, and for some reason, I became quite known. I was well known, not famous, but quite known, because people needed to pivot, especially trainers, needed to pivot very fast to learn how to teach online. So friends who knew me asked me, Nadzrin, can you teach us? And I said, okay. And I put together a program called the Virtual Learncaster Certification. I did not expect it to blow up so big. I was planning to just run it once or twice, just for friends. Now it's up to cycle number 30. So we've run it almost 30 times in the last 2 years. And we have quite a few of the VLCs here today, which embarrasses me a little bit. But thank you very much, guys, for showing that support. So my journey so far has, I would say I was forced to sell myself, forced to put myself out there in order to survive. And then later on, I learned some of the intricacies of how we do this, because okay, you won't believe this, but I am a bit of an introvert, if not a lot of an introvert. And I don't leave the house. If I have no reason to leave, I don't leave the house. which is why virtual training is amazing to me, because all I get to look at is this little square webcam. I don't even see you, but I can talk to you. So that's a little, if not a lot, about me. We'll have a Q&A a little bit later, but now I'm going to pass it back to Wendy, because the second question we're going to tackle, right, is which she has not covered yet. What are some of the things that you do to be able to advertise yourself, Wendy?
Okay, good. So I would like to share with everyone a little bit about my history. Okay, so I think we are quite similar in many ways. Nadzrin, I'm also, believe it or not, I'm also an introvert in a way. Yeah, but I like to share with everyone how I got into this shameless self-promotion. I think it's also my life. Yeah, so once upon a time I graduated from University of Malaya. Yeah, so this was my university many years ago, and no, I did not graduate in year 2015. This is just a random picture. I picked it off Google. But interestingly, when I was there, and all of you who's in a local university would know that it's actually very difficult to get a place to stay in college, and I love staying in hostel. Yeah, so even though it's not really very conducive, and this was my hostel, 7th College Zakbar. And for me to get in, right, it's actually really difficult. Yeah, but I had to find my way in. I was actually kicked out. Yeah, so I had to go to section 17 and get an apartment and all that, but I didn't want that. And so what happened was I had to literally, you know, find my way back into the hostel. And that was when I realized that this is the first time ever, whatever that I need, I had to ask for it. Okay, so I remember on 10 classes, yeah, and one whole day, I just waited for the penyelia to come back, begged him to let me come back to this college to stay. And eventually I got my place, and I was there for 3 years, right? And then after that, when I went for my first job interview, okay, which was like with a pharmaceutical company, and again, I remembered it was at that time was not really very difficult to get a job. However, I was asking for a salary which is a little bit higher than the rest. Okay, but I wanted it. And so what happened? Second time, I also asked for it. So everything that I needed, right, I had to ask for it. So my first job, I asked to be hired. So spending a couple of years after that, I was headhunted to another company, which was actually based in Singapore, and it was the 3rd largest biotech company in the world. And they went through a lot of candidates before they eventually narrowed down to me and another guy. So it was really a tough competition. And this company was actually known as Serono, where we dealt with test tube babies. So from there onwards, I wanted the job, yeah, and it was just me and the other guy. So what happened was, at the last interview, before I left the interview room, I said, hire me. That's it. I'm your best candidate. And again, the 3rd time, I asked to be hired. So that was when I realized, right, in my life, yeah, not only, you know, to get what I want, right, I had to literally not only ask, right, I had to be good. Okay, so I asked for whatever I want. I have to be good in whatever that I was doing, but it was not enough for that. Okay, I have to prove that I'm good, and also I needed to be seen that I'm good. Then only will I be able to get whatever that I want. All right, some people have it very easy in life. And believe it or not, I actually had a lady who saw my face one day, and you know what the lady said? You don't have a Thai face. Okay, Thai meaning to say you don't have a Mat Datin face lah, huh? Mat Datin face meaning to say you don't have a life where you just sit and don't do anything and things will come dropping from the sky. You are the type of person that will, you know, that needs to work, more of a CEO type, working type, rather than the, you know, the lady of leisure. And I do not know whether she was the, you know, the Tok Nenek or whatever, but this is how my life has been. Yeah, so far I asked for everything that I wanted to. Yeah, so when I started off image consultancy, right, from a corporate company, of course, the advantage that I had was I was in sales and marketing. So in sales and marketing, right, you also learn how to, you know, do sales and do marketing and all that. But sometimes it's a little bit different, yeah. Marketing something else, a product or whatever, which doesn't belong to you, compared to marketing your own self, lah. However, that actually helped me a lot. Okay, so when I first started image consultancy, that was when I realized that I literally had a change of mindset. From there, selling, marketing the products and all that, to doing something about me. Okay, so that was when I first started, emails, newsletters, cold calls, brochures, pamphlets, newspapers, magazines, TV, radio, ebooks, anything that you can name. I literally had to do it all on my own. And remember, during that time, or my time, Facebook was not alive. It was only Friendster, and I don't remember having a Friendster account as well. So it's just pure hard work of, looking for emails, cold calls, and all that. So that was how I started off, doing all this self-promotion. It was much more hard work than I would say now, because now you have all the social media. Okay, so this was my how I ventured in from the corporate life and all that. But for me, it's literally more of I was forced into it. Okay, so this is a little bit about me first, all right? How I eventually got into self-promotion. All right, back to you, Nadzrin.
Thank you very much. All right, so I don't have slides for you, but I will say this, that I mentioned it already. When I left Accenture to become independent learning facilitator, the first thing on my mind was how to feed my family. So I had to quickly learn to step out and market myself. So the one thing I did was, and I recommend this to everyone, when you are scared, and I learned this very early, when you are scared, it's mostly because you don't have the information that you need. Your brain is looking for information and it doesn't have the information, so it creates theories and assumptions and models and frameworks and all sorts of things to justify what the current information you have is. Right? So I'll give you an example. If I take you to a movie, right? Let's go and watch a scary movie. We're watching the scary movie, but I forgot to tell you that I watched this movie the day before. So just as the monster is about to jump out, I go, monster, jump out now. What happens to your fear? Your fear disappears, and worse, you become angry. Shut up. What are you? I'm trying to watch the movie. So the brain, when it doesn't have enough information that it needs, it automatically wants you to find more information. It's when you talk about overthinking, right? What is overthinking? You are using the same information, you're recycling again and again and again and again to come up with a solution. But the problem is, what you need to do is learn something new. So as I was preparing to leave Accenture, I became very scared because I know nothing about the market. I'm telling you, I knew nuts. I was used to being an in-house trainer. I knew nothing. So what I decided to do is decided to do some data gathering. I sent emails to as many training providers as I could, as many trainers as I knew, as many clients as were out there that I had contacts for. And as much as possible, I met up with them. This was pre-COVID again. I met up with them. We had coffee, we had lunch, whatever. We emailed, we had phone calls. And I interviewed them. I asked them, what is the market looking for? And how should I approach the market? So I was actually interviewing different people, trainers, training providers, and clients. And I discovered that there were certain pain points that training providers did not have complete, or it was not solved when it comes to trainers. And if you're trainers in here right now, you want to listen very carefully, right? This is how training providers operate, and this is what how we cause trouble for them. Number one, we send them our profile, and our profile is like 3 pages long, 4 pages long, 5 pages long, right? Nobody will read that stuff. Second, your profile starts with the first paragraph. Nadzrin was born in 1977 in Kuala Lumpur. Nobody cares. Nobody cares where you were born, when you were born. So that first statement, you've already wasted an opportunity to sell yourself. And I go, oh my God, my profile sounds exactly like that. So they said, we want something a particular way, but trainers keep to send it suka hati anything. And in many cases, they send in PDF, PowerPoint, cantik design. What training providers need to do is they need to copy and paste, extract from that document, and they put it into their template, which is why in some cases you'll find the TP will come back to you and say, can you send me a raw copy, a Word document? Because they need to copy it out. But if you send something perfectly designed, cantik apa semua, they cannot copy, it makes life difficult for them. Oh, I see, okay. So I learned that, and they have to work with trainers, but they don't like certain trainers because menyusahkan hidup dia.
Betul.
Right? That's one. Number two is trainers in Malaysia don't like to customize. So when the client says, can customize a trainer? No customization. Why? Because customization is difficult. So that second thing hit my head. Okay, if I want to enter the market, I need to do something different from these trainers. I need to stand out. So what I did, I started offering customizations. So if clients say, can customize? I say, can. But I had to work out a system to be able to save myself grief and work fast with the client. Number three, they said that trainers, when we WhatsApp them, ask if they're available, it takes 24 hours to reply sometimes. So I say, okay, must be fast. Anytime a TP asks me a question, I will stop. My wife will say, still chatting? Yes, cari duit. I will reply as fast as possible, send my outline, send my profile within the first 30 minutes. Because why? If they ask you on the spot, it means that the client has already asked them. So the faster they can reply to the client and book the date, the easier it is for them to choose you. So if you can make life easy for your clients and your training providers, speed is number one, respond fast, then there's a higher chance of them choosing you. Okay, last one, but there's actually more, but I'll choose only four. The fourth one is I ask trainers, what don't you do? And they said, we don't do after sales service. I'm saying, what do you mean? You don't do after sales service? Yeah, we don't do after sales service. So I say, like, you don't offer coaching to the party? Oh, no, leceh lah. So in my head, I go, okay, I will offer 30 days free online coaching. So what happened was, when the client looks at a trainer profile, and this trainer has like 20 years experience, got doctorate and all that stuff, and they look at Nadzrin punya profile, and they see same price, same topic, it got 30 days free online coaching. Which do you think the client will choose? Welcome to Malaysia, where price is sometimes more important than who the trainer is. So they go, hey, got free online coaching, 30 days free online coaching for our participants. So 7 times out of 10, that's why I got the job. And that's how I survived from 2015 up until now. I needed to be different. And this was what I learned at Accenture. 2 things. You want to write this down. Number 1, differentiate. If you are the same as any other trainer, you will not get the job. Differentiate. Number 2 is speed. Then we had a mantra in Accenture. We want to be gone by the time our competitors get there. Okay, write that down as well. You won't get it from anywhere else except within Accenture. Orang Accenture saja tahu. We want to be gone by the time our competitors get there, which means always innovate. Yeah, from 2015 onwards, I innovated every year. I would introduce new courses because clients will come back to, hey, got new course? And if you don't have an answer, they'll go and find someone else. They'll ask another trainer, got new course? So how many people have experienced this? Tell me the text chat, yes or no. A client or a TP comes up to you and say, hey, got new course? Even though you're already good at the course that you're running, how many people have experienced this? Tell me yes or no in the chat. They got new course this year. Okay.
I reply you.
Always. So here's the good news, here's the bad news. And once upon a time, you had to innovate once a year. Now it's getting worse. You need to innovate 6 months, every 6 months. And as I'm seeing the trend going now, it's coming out the 3 months. So if you cannot introduce a new product or a new spin on your product every 3 months, then you might be left behind. So number 1, differentiate. Number 2, speed. Okay. So no slides for you, but that's how I learned how to do it. Okay. So before we go to some principles, I'll pass back to Wendy. Wendy, you had a question or anything you want to add on?
Yeah, I just would like to add on something very important, because nowadays we find that sometimes trainers don't understand training providers. So I'm not your particular training. I mean, I don't set up my setting as a training provider. However, sometimes I do sell trainers as well. And one of the things which we find that trainers sometimes don't understand is that clients need to see you in action. So please, if any one of you, right, even though now it's virtual and all that, try to have as many videos as possible and keep it in your whatever. You know, sometimes you can self-promote and you know, self-promote in LinkedIn, self-promote in Facebook and whatsoever not. However, videos are very important because it saves the hassle. Last time during physical training, right, it saves the hassle of us telling you, oh, can you come and see the client, and all that. So usually what I will do is that, okay, this is a trainer. This is him in action. You can see in YouTube, whatever. And it makes the clients, you know, so much easier to pick us. Okay, so this is one of the very crucial tips, especially now.
Agreed. I agree very much. So shall we go to the next question in that, what do you do differently now as when first you started? What's
Okay, I won't go into what am I doing differently so much as to what am I doing now, because it's basically more or less still marketing. However, I would like to share a quick one on this. As in, I think this is very important, isn't it? Why do people sometimes scared of doing self-promotion? Right, and this particular thing, right, still happens to me until this very day. Okay, very common thing. We are always very worried about being judged. That is what I feel as well sometimes. Okay, but I like to put it in another perspective, right? And this is something that I learned during the MCO. Yeah, in my house, I have myself, my husband, and my 2 goddaughters, right? And all of us, right, would like, I mean, we all like different fast food. Like me, McDonald's is my favorite. My husband hates McDonald's, yeah, and he likes KFC. And my other 2 goddaughters, one is Pizza Hut girl, and the other one is Domino's. But then I realized something. Yeah, even though they, you know, you have different people liking different stuff, McDonald's never stopped to promote themselves. Isn't it? And Kentucky also never stopped to promote themselves. So this is when I realized it doesn't matter what you do. At the end of the day, if you do good, people will judge you. You do bad, people will also judge you. So at the end of the day, so just don't bother with how many people or you know what people say about you. Somebody said this to me before. Your vibe will always attract your tribe. Just like today, I realized also that in the group there are a lot of Nadzrin's tribe. Right? So at the end of the day, so don't have to be, you know, caught up with what will people say about me, and then you stop there. And this is what I see very common happening with a lot of people. Yeah, even my surrounding brothers, sisters, cousins, and all that. I ask them, why don't they promote themselves? Say no lah. You know, later people say I'm not so good lah, and all that. A lot of times, a lot of things are just running in their heads. And I heard this somewhere. I don't know whether any one of you have heard this before. 40% of what you think is happening, right, is actually not real. Okay, so that's the point number 1 that I want to share. Second one, and this also happened to me as well, because I think me, Nadzrin, and I think a lot of us trainers, a lot of people think that we are extroverts. Actually, we are not. That's why I can survive in MCO, because even if I don't get out from this house, and I'm like Nadzrin, I can just be in front of the laptop all the time, and I don't have to communicate with anyone. Yeah.
Why so you choose these photos?
I chose this photo because a lot of people always think that they have to be like that kind. So you don't have to be like, betul tak?
Yep.
And still people would and still you can get your name out there. Right? So don't worry about being an introvert and all that. Okay. So it is time for all of us, right? Trainers or whatever that you are doing and all that, to, you know, toot your own horn. Sorry, I have a double L there. Yeah, wrong spelling. Right? Okay, so this is the second part I would like to share. And the third one would be thinking about, this will come back to judgment as well. Your people judging and all that. Always thinking that someone else is better. No, you must always think about this. If it is not when, if it's not now, then when? If it's not me, who? So if you don't have that kind of confidence on your own self, right, it will actually show. I am sure that in my line, right, as an image consultant, even though I'm one of the longest, right, there are people who's better than me in many ways. Like Nadzrin is better than me in many ways, right? But I am good in my field, and I just have to believe that I'm good in my field. Like I'm very sure that I can make Nadzrin more handsome than he is now. right? So this is one of the 3 critical things which I think a lot of people face when it comes to self-promotion that will actually stop you from doing it. I'm putting aside, you know, no time, or sometimes we get a little bit lazy and all that, right? But these 3 things I feel that is very important. Okay, so these are the things. And Nadzrin, if I may continue on, because of time factor, I just want to continue on my 3 tips, right? Yep. So 3 tips, okay, it's this, all right? I would like to just give a couple of tips from me. It's supposed to be 3 tips from me and 3 tips for Nadzrin. We can always chit chat from with each other.
Was it 3? I went ahead and did 4. Sorry lah.
Tak apa. So one of the things, right?
Promotion janji 5. Dalam poster.
Oh ya ke?
Dah masuk beli dapat 3 saja.
That's interesting. So remember this, right? One of the things, is, you know, you're doing the same thing and all that and expect different results, which is insanity lah. Einstein also taught us that. I think one of the things sometimes is our self-talk. Okay, self-talk. So one of the idea, as in like not to always think about, you know, whether people will judge you and all that, right? You must always try to do this, okay? And this is something that I practice all the time. Is to look outwards, okay? So instead of thinking, am I promoting myself today and all that, think about whether you are solving a problem, sharing a solution, and giving love to the community out there. And that is how I survived for the past 18 years and survive very well, I must say, right? I must now tooting my own horn and all that, but it's a proof, okay? So you have to do this, right? If nobody knows you, then you will not get anywhere. Okay, so look outwards, think about you know, sharing your solution to a certain problem, and that way you will eventually find that you're reframing your mind, as in like, I'm not promoting myself anymore, I'm here to share whatever solution that I can give out. Okay, so that is one self-talk thing that all of us should do and all of us can do. Okay, second one, all right, 5 more partners. If you're starting out today, you're new and all that, 5 partners. Okay, so 5 partners as in, so you can support a cause, you can sponsor events, you can host webinars like what me and Nadzrin is doing now, co-author books, collaborate on projects and all that. And in the whole entire term, not tenure as in me as an image consultant, I've done a lot, okay? As in like partnering with boutiques, doing all this work free of charge, right? But it's just a matter of how do we leverage on one another and create a win-win situation. Okay, I co-authored books, I've done you know, talk shows, I've done magazines, I write for newspapers until today, I still do. I'm going to have another column with motherhood. So all these things, it takes time to do, but no choice, okay? But this is one of the very important ways for you to be able to get your name out there. Right? So number 2 is to find as many partners as possible. I mean, come on, this is the only time you're allowed to have many boyfriends and many girlfriends, okay? So try to do that.
Wait, what? I am?
And then the last one is, okay, a lot of us find difficulty in posting and posting all this social media and all that kind, but you have to do it. So what I do is that I have a schedule, okay? And one of the interesting things about social media is that because it's across a lot of platforms, so I would suggest that you find some time. So what I will do is I will prepare beforehand a month, 2 months, sometimes 3 months of social media posts and all that. And my staff will actually you know, post it up for me. Okay, so it's being scheduled already. So everywhere you can hear my voice. All right. So just give you a little bit of example as to how we do our social media, you know, platform and all that. So if you're in my Facebook, I'm sure you can see a lot of things every day. Okay, some are scheduled, but if you're in my personal Facebook, it's not scheduled. It's usually me posting up. But if you're in my company's Facebook and all that, you can see. So I have my Facebook page, I have my profile, business page and all that. I have my Instagram, and also I have my LinkedIn pages as well. So it's work, all right, but you have no choice. This is one of the ways, right, to do promotion and, you know, to do your own self-promotion, okay? So I have all this, except for Twitter. I'm not really active in Twitters, but just to give you an example, how if let's say you're talking about Wendy, why is Wendy everywhere? Because it's not only about Wendy. I have a couple of companies running around. I have Chapter 1 Asia, I have Trainers Asia. So these are my Facebook page. I have Brand Image International Institute. So you can see that it's actually different Facebook pages. I put image, Perunding Image Bertaulia. And I also have every fan page, every Facebook page, I will have different Instagram pages as well. Okay, and I also have my own YouTube account. Apart from my YouTube channel, under Brand Image International Institute, right? We also have one something called BII TV. Okay, so the idea of social media, right? Utilize it. I feel that it is a very, very good way, right? If you were to schedule all your posts, it can go everywhere. So the idea is like, macam somebody was telling me, you know, like when you listen to azan, kan? Why is it that why is it that azan is everywhere? So it's marketing is always like that. Self-promotion is always like that. Yeah, people have to see you everywhere, listen, hear your name and all that. Then automatically, when people want something, let's say for example, when people want image course or etiquette course or whatever course, communication and all that, right? The first thing in mind they will think of is you. Okay, so think about this in whatever field that you are actually working on, whether you're in your own business doing not training but other businesses. The principle is the same. Okay, so the idea of social media is you want everybody to tell everyone. And one of the good things about it is you are able to share as well. Okay, so with that, I would like to conclude this, right? As in the 3 tips, yeah? Look outwards, okay? Don't think about yourself, find partners and schedule social media. If you can consistently do these 3 things, it's really, really good enough already. All right, and it's time to do self-promotion because why? Orang selalu kata apa kan? Jangan masuk bakul yang angkat sendiri, right? So what do? Now it is time for you to masuk the bakul kan and minta orang lain pula yang angkat. Okay, so you need help from others to do that.
Everybody, please go back there. Everybody, please screenshot this. Put it as the background of your mobile phone.
Oh, that's so sweet of you.
Not the cat. Masuk bangkul, minta orang yang angkat.
Betul. All right, you need help. Okay, and collaboration, cooperation now, right, is one of the easiest way for you to get your names out there. But of course, you must also do your part, as in you must be good lah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want to show your last slide. I think you've.
Okay.
Because I asked you to go back. Please show your last slide so that everyone can see. I think there's another one after that.
Oh, it's just me. My thank you.
Okay. They wanted to see this one. Dave, is this the one you want to see? Tell us in the chat.
You want to see the kitchen. IG post slide again. Oh, I mean, you are in my IG, right? My Instagram.
I think what he means is the schedule. You know, that example.
Okay. This is something. This is just something that I pluck it off from the Google, but this is something that I do as well. I have a Monday manners, I have Tuesday something which I'm going to schedule after this, but I do this. So if you were to log into my Chapter 1, my company's website, sorry, not website, Facebook, right? You will see consistently every day there are posts. Okay, not Wendy's post. I mean, I schedule it. The posts are created by me. However, it is not about me. It can be tips from me. It can be, it's not about, if you're in my Facebook or Instagram, you can see me doing workouts and all that, right? However, I don't post that up on company's Facebook. Company's Facebook, it's just purely my work. Okay.
Looks good.
Back to you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So I'm happy because you've covered things that I'm not going to cover. So thank you. You've given us very hard techniques. So guys, I'm going to pull back into more principles. And I've been using a lot of tech these last year and a half. Today, I'm going to go very low tech. So principle number 1, service over sale. So what does it mean? It means, guys, when I was a lot younger and I was teaching martial arts, my teacher said, Nadzrin, if you're going to teach a silat class, get someone else to pick up the fees. Get someone else to do the registration. You don't collect the fees. You don't ask for the fees from the participants. And I go, why? And then I decided to disobey him, and I did it, and then I discovered why. It affected my ability to teach. It affected my ability to, be authentic, to be service-oriented with my students. And I didn't like feeling that. So then I decided, okay, somebody else take care of the registration, somebody take care of the fees. So service over sale means that you prioritize, oh God, nobody can see this, there. Service over sale means that you prioritize giving to people. And this will show up in your social media posts. When you write on social media, you are demonstrating value, you're sharing actual content that can help people. Not everybody will be able to pay your price. Not everybody will be able to come for your course. But when you do this, you help a lot more people. And if you believe, if you're a spiritual person, you know that what goes around comes around, right? So the late Dr. Stephen Covey also talked about this when he talked about when you give, right? You give, people appreciate, something will come back. If you help 100 people, it's impossible one person will not help you when the time comes. So always focus service over sale. Why? Because it's difficult for you. When you focus sale over service, people can see it. They can see it in your social media, they can see it in your face, they can see it in your body language, they can see that you're just out there for the money. Okay, so that's number one. Number two is when you market yourself to clients and the public, focus on output over input. Don't tell people what you can do. I can do this, I was certified in this, I was like all of this. Okay, fine. You can tell them, focus on the output. What will they get? Because if you focus on the input, it's always me, me, me. I am smart. I got this degree. I got this certification. I got all of this. If you were listening, would you like to hear that? Or you as the listener, you are also what's in it for me. So you want to switch your focus. It's not wrong to tell people what you do. Focus on what they will get. So focus on the output. Every super certification that you have, translate that into a benefit. What will your audience get? And trust me, that's easier to do than talking about yourself. So that eases your shyness a little bit. Focus on what they will get. Okay. Number three is, if you can see this, separate you from what you do. Okay? You are not your course. You are not your product. When somebody says, this course is terrible, and then you put, kenapa? He's not.
Nadzrin, can you please put up the poster back? I want to screenshot. Cannot see just now. Yes.
Nak senyum ke?
Thank you.
All right. Separate you from your services. Do not take on your I know when somebody scolds your child, you terasa, right? When somebody scolds your baby, you terasa, because you feel it's part of you. Yes, the course, the training program, the product, the service came from you. But when they comment on the product or the service, they're not commenting on you. Keep that in mind. So what you want to do, two things. Number one is, this is in Malay. Somebody needs to translate into English for me. Izinkan diri ditegur. Allow yourself to receive feedback. Practice asking for feedback. At the end of the course, at the end of a product, ask your participants, I want honest, candid feedback for this course. Don't say, give me feedback. The moment you do that, they'll give you feedback. No, say, please comment on this course so that we can design it better for you and the next batch. The moment you say, give me feedback, okay, you take it on. You better be ready. So separate yourself from your services and then ask for feedback. Now, how do you ask for feedback? That's another thing. Don't ask, okay, what are the weaknesses of this course? Janganlah, don't do that. You need to frame it for them as well so that they will give you the kinds of answers that will not break your heart. So, two main questions. These are what I learned from my teacher, Muhammad Rizal Hassan. In order for you as a trainer to receive the kind of feedback you want, first question is, what did you like about this course? Or what are the things that you feel will benefit you in this course? Second question is, please give us suggestions to improve this course or this training program or this service. Notice the question isn't what are the weaknesses? Because when you start getting people to talk about negatives, they will go negatives. But what you're asking them to do is to use their brain power to create suggestions for you. Guys, this is free consulting tau. When your participants give you suggestions on how you can improve, sometimes it's something you missed. It's a very small thing that can make a big impact. Sometimes, you know, the 80-20 Pareto principle, sometimes they comment that 20%, you go, alamak, betul lah. If I just added that picture into the slide, they would have understood this concept so much faster. So always innovate and remove yourself from your services. And when you talk as well, don't say my cost, say this cost, say this product, this service. That helps you to keep apart, okay? And last but not least is friends over trolls. You decide who to listen to. You decide who you are going to give your ears to. Friends over trolls. And I want to throw back a little bit. You remember in school, does anybody remember when you were in school, you had peer pressure from these people? I'm going to call them out loud. These idiots in school who made life difficult for you. Hey, kau tak cantik, kau pendek. Hey, pendek. Where are they now?
Masih pendek.
No. They, not you.
Oh, they pendek, okay.
Where are they now? They're nowhere. You don't even see them anymore. University, peer pressure. Where are they now? When you work, where are they now? So you actually allowed them to control your emotions. You allow them to make you feel something. Don't allow that to anyone who's not important to you. So if you izinkan diri ditegur, you allow people to give you feedback, choose the right people to give you feedback. Not just any Tom, Dick, and Harry. You choose who you want to give you feedback. And here's the thing. Always say thank you for the feedback. Always appreciate. Even if your heart burns a little bit, thank you. Because gratitude fixes quite a lot of things in the brain. Okay? I'm not going to go into deep psychological research. I'm just going to say gratitude fixes quite a lot of things in the brain. It loosens up quite a lot of issues. So always be grateful for what you have. Always thank people. And anybody who is a trainer here will know that when you train, especially online, when people give you a question, ask you a question, or they make a comment, or they take the time to type into the text chat. People malas type into the text chat, but they take the time to type it in. Always say thank you, always appreciate. So guys, those are 4 tips, and I forgot we only had to do 3. So you got 7 tips today. Wendy, before we wrap this up, shall we open up for Q&A? Does anybody want to ask any questions that we have not covered yet? Let's see. I think I have turned on your ability to turn on your microphone. Yep, you have the ability to unmute yourself. So if you have questions, you can ask in the chat or turn on the microphone. We're not experts. We're all in the journey to self-promote. So go ahead, ask away. Let's do a countdown. 10, 9, 8.
Nadzrin, I don't have a question per se, but I just want to share some thoughts along the way.
Go ahead, Ashok.
Yeah, I am an introvert by nature too, so I get what Wendy and you are saying. So a couple of things I've learned over the years is, I'm from Singapore, FYI.
Oh,
yeah.
Hi.
Hi. Okay, guilty, nothing to be proud of at the moment. Anyway.
Well, you have less numbers of infection than we do, so be proud. You're technically safer than we are.
Sure. So, speaking of which, earlier on when you're talking about hair and all that, I was like, that's a sensitive topic. Right, so a couple of things. Yes, I'm introvert by nature. A couple of things I've been doing in the past is I purely work with fellow facilitators or trainers. Mm-hmm. For the reason being, they are also seeing the people that I want to see, and I try to add value to them in that sense. So I do not do big blasts out in terms of whether it's Facebook or different type of marketing and all of that. But I work with fellow facilitators in that sense. The other thing I've learned over time is the difference between outbound sales and inbound sales. Because a lot of times I notice a lot of the trainers, they put up a lot of posts on websites and blogs and whatever you've got, hoping to have some inbound sales. But I think the reality is we still need to go out there and talk about our services and how we can add value. I think that's still the important part of things. The inbound, I think it's good to put our message out there, but I personally, for me, I don't expect much from the inbound. I take it as a bonus. It's more of the outbound activities that I need to focus on. I just want to share that.
Thank you. So adding on to that, everyone want to write this down, right? And if you find my posting on Facebook, you'll know what I'm talking about. Demonstrate value. People will not know what you have, what you have to offer if you don't demonstrate your value. It is not about saying, I have this certification, or I can do this, or I can do this. Write a thought leadership article, or write posts on your Facebook or your social media that actually help people. So what happens is people start viewing you as an authority in that area, right? So if you want to be known as something, then expose yourself a lot more, not posters for inbound sales, but actually write. So for example, if I wanted people to join my virtual Learncaster certification, VLC, if I just template poster, what happens is they go like, what is this? Don't know. So people are uncomfortable. But if I start writing articles, I start sharing tips and tricks from inside the course itself, and I do it publicly, then people are becoming more curious, number one. They are also understanding that, hey, he knows what he's talking about. So that builds that trust, builds that credibility. Don't hide. There is a reason why martial arts do demonstrations so that people will join. Imagine if martial arts do not do demonstrations, no students will join. So there has to be that marketing aspect where you demonstrate to people, this is what you can get from me if you join up with me. So thank you very much for that, Ashok. That really resonates with what we're doing. Thank you.
And if you are somebody that can't write really that well, as like for myself, I hate writing. It's very difficult for me to churn out the words and all that. So what I do is I will use pictures and I use videos more. So that's my way of communicating out.
Thank you. So if there are no questions, give us an...
I have a quick question.
Oh, there you go. Sorry. Come.
Sorry, this was something relevant to something you mentioned when you started earlier, and something we had in our group. So I just wanted to kind of check with you. You mentioned about, sharing with people and allowing people to share stuff with you. And then recently in the group, you talked about the human library, if you remember. Maybe you want to tell us a little bit about that and if that's going to actually happen.
Okay, so you're directing the question to me, right, Dave?
Yep.
Okay, so the idea is, if what I'm doing right now, because I want to start branding myself publicly, and I already have a good, strong background with in-house training with clients. My calendar is full for stuff like that. So I want to try and start something new, which is something scary for me. Branding myself out in the public space. So I will sum it up in as simple as possible then. I want this face to be seen in as much places on social media as possible. So the current strategy is partnering with other trainers, leveraging off of their network, and they leverage off of my network. So you see, Wendy's friends are here, my friends are here, people who know us, they come together and we can actually exchange our networks. We can actually share our skills with them. So if there are VLCs want to sign up for Wendy's course, or Wendy's past participants want to sign up for mine, then that works out. So when we talk about the human library, which is, I think not everybody understands the concept yet, I plan to set up a session. We cannot use Zoom for this. We're going to use a different platform. It's called Kumo Space, where we invite interesting people with interesting backgrounds, with stories to tell. Right? It could be someone, we don't know. It could be someone with a story, someone who's a single mother, someone who's a single father, someone who's an orphan, to serve as the books that are read. And this concept is not mine. It's what they do in I think America. Instead of doing a book library, they have a human library, where you can actually borrow a person, sit down and listen to their stories. So currently planning for that. But of course, when I organize it, my name will be there, my face will be there as the organizer. So if you look over in the last couple of weeks, you might have seen Nadzrin's face plastered everywhere on the internet. Well, that wasn't planned. It just so happened came very close together. In fact, right after this at 2 o'clock, I have another one with my teacher, Rizal. Plus, there is 2 international events virtually that I will be part of. So I think that's the idea. I'm not good at this. I'm not saying it will work. Maybe people get fed up with seeing my face. I have to learn from that. So Dave, does that answer your question?
Yes, it does.
Okay, so making sure people can see your name and see your face to such an extent that they go, who the heck is this, man? I hate his guts so much, I need to find out. So as long as you can stir an emotion in someone and you get them curious, then you can probably engage them. So that being said, that actually goes back to my years as a journalist. As journalists, as not TV journalists, print media. My editor said, he says, you must make your name easily recognizable. So I chose my pen name to be Muhammad Nadzrin Wahab, whereas he said, no, most pen names are just 2 words. So he says, do Nadzrin Wahab. And I said, I cannot leave the Muhammad because that's where I came from. That's my prophet. That's what gives me that nobility. And I want to live up to that nobility. Here's what happened. To this day, if you search online, I am the only person with that 3-word name with that exact spelling on this planet, which means that the branding is quite strong there. Nobody else has this name. Ada Muhammad Nadzrin, ada Nadzrin Wahab, but nobody has Muhammad Nadzrin Wahab. So I will continue using that. The challenge, of course, is when I do international events, they call me Mod. So I need to figure out something. Dave, I hope that answers the question. Anybody have questions for Wendy?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
I would like to have a group photo though. Don't forget the group photo.
Okay. So if there's no more questions, people are saying goodbye and thank you and stuff. Shall we turn on our cameras?
Just a quick one for memory. This is my first time with Nadzrin. So if we can.
Obi-Wan Juwita, you are my last hope. Okay, there's 28 people. Where's everyone? Come, just one photo.
Just one photo, yes.
Hey, nice to see you.
Nadzrin, you're taking a photo, eh? Please remember to say 1, 2, 3. Otherwise, I won't smile.
Yeah, I'm taking the photo. Okay.
Yeah, you take a photo.
All right. How do I take a photo? All I do is do screenshots. All right.
I think so. Print screen.
If I take the photo, I cannot posing one.
Okay, I take photo. I send to you. You send to
okay.
I love Juwita. Okay.
Juwita takes photo. That's okay.
1, 2.
Happy.
1, 2, 3.
Okay. No. Kejap. Okay. Everybody, please do not chat. Nobody chat, because if you chat, the chat box will pop up.
Okay.
1,
2, 3. Again.
Happy pose.
All right.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much, everyone. We'll see you online, offline, and have a good weekend. Assalamualaikum.
Bye.
Assalam. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
Wendy
Wendy.
and Nadzrin.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Wendy.